Okay, welcome all to this ordinary council meeting of 22nd of November 2023. I welcome councillors, staff and any members of the public here. Could I please call upon Councillor Witters to provide the civic affirmation.
We, the councillors of the Armidale region, declare that we will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of our community and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in us to the best of our skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Witters, and Councillor Redwood to provide an acknowledgement of country.
Thank you. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. The Armidale regional community pays tribute to their love of land, love of people and love of culture.
Thank you, Councillor Redwood, and if I could call upon the General Manager to make a statement regarding live streaming of council meetings.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The meeting is being audio and video recorded, and the recordings of the non-confidential parts of the meeting will be made available on the internet. No other persons are permitted to record the meeting unless specifically authorised by council to do so. And could all mobile phones and laptops please be set to silent? Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr General Manager. Councillors, I have received two apologies, Councillor O'Brien and Councillor O'Connor. Councillor O'Connor may be joining us a little later during the meeting, but she's an apology at this point. I also note that Councillor McMichael is joining us via Zoom. Welcome, Councillor McMichael. Councillors, having had the opportunity to review the agenda, does anyone need to declare a conflict of interest? Yeah. Councillor Witters.
I just thought it better, just in regards to the Project 030. I think now working for the Office of Energy and Climate Change, I think they've had something to maybe do with that, so just declaring that that's who I now work for.
Thank you. So it's a non-pecuniary, but you're just noting it. Thank you. All right. Councillors, will jump straight in. So we go straight to the 7 series, which are the General Manager reports. And the first one is 7 point. Whoa, sorry. Thank you. I put a line through that. 5.1. I got a bit carried away. Thank you. Confirmation of the minutes of the Ordinary Council meeting held on the 25th of October 2023. Could I have a mover? Thanks, Councillor Gadders. And a seconder is Councillor Mepham. Anything to say, Councillor Gadders? No. Councillor Mepham? No. All those in favour of accepting those? Thank you. I declare, I can see you, Councillor McMichael. I declare that carried unanimously. Now we go to item 7.1, which the Council Actions Report. So the details of this are from page 6 of the agenda. And it's about actions taken by Council or taken on Council resolutions for the period from January 2022 to October 2023. And Council is being asked to note the report. Can I have a mover for this, please? Thanks, Councillor Witters, and Councillor Redwood is the seconder. Anything to say, Councillor Witters? Councillor Redwood? Right, let's put that to a vote. All those in favour? Thank you. I declare that one carried unanimously as well. We don't have any finance reports in this meeting, so that takes us to item 9.1, which is the Project 030, where Armidale Regional Council is going to be presented with our greenhouse gas account. Details page 7 of the agenda, 57 of the attachments. There's a recommendation on the screen. Can I have a mover? Thanks, Councillor Redwood. And a seconder. Thanks, Councillor Galletley. Councillor Redwood, anything to say there?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. So Armidale Regional Council is a member, a participant in the board of Project 030, and I am the Armidale Regional Council's board member on that project. So at this stage, we've had a baseline account prepared by a postdoctoral fellow from University of New England, and we've had that draft report and baseline account presented to us. So as we can see here, what we're being asked to do is note the report and also then move to have a workshop on that. What I'd like to do is also move an amendment to potentially, depending on when we want to run this workshop. At the moment, we've put December in here. We may not be able to do in December. We're just not sure on timing at the moment. So we're trying to lock in a date with the postdoctoral fellow. So at the moment, it would be December with the potential for having to move it off into next year, depending on when we can pin said people down.
Thank you. So do you want to amend what is on the screen or run with it and see?
I think we can run with it and
Okay, that's the intent. All right. And we had a second there, Councillor Redwood, have you finished?
So the importance of this project is that we are presented with a climate issue here, and we've now got a sense of where we are at with the emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions for our region. So there will be some need in time for some abatement measures, and hence the need for a workshop to determine what this council is going to commit to in that sense. But otherwise, nothing more to say.
Thank you very much. Councillor Gillespie.
Yeah, totally agree. Just running through quickly, it's fairly interesting. I suppose it's no surprise that agriculture, which is one of our biggest industries in New England, came up with that. But when you look at industry itself, which are also doing at 1%, I think we're doing pretty fine there for the emissions coming out. But no, totally agree with everything that Councillor Redwood said. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Robinson, would you like to say something?
Yeah, this is a very, very important thing. Global warming is something we should all be concerned about because it's likely to disproportionately affect rural and regional communities, especially risks of extreme weather events such as droughts. And I just wanted to draw people's attention to some recent research. And although you possibly can't see this very well, we have a prediction here published in the proceedings of the US National Academy of Sciences last year, showing two lines, an orange line and a green line. And it shows that if we follow the orange line, which is basically just reducing carbon dioxide emissions, then we are bound almost certainly to exceed 2 degrees of global warming by 2050, which could have disastrous consequences. But if we follow the green line, and the green line is basically tackling the other half of climate pollutants, the short-lived climate pollutants, such as methane, carbon monoxide, black carbon, non-methane, volatile organic compounds, and various other things, then we can actually rapidly reduce the rate of global warming. And that shows how the rate of warming on this side really goes down. So we've got to really look at our emissions inventories and make sure we don't make the invalid assumption that we've got 100 years to solve the problem. So that will be a very, very interesting topic at our workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson. Councillor Witters.
Yeah, a couple of things. Reading this report earlier on, I noted that our greenhouse gases were total, I think, around about 823,000, something like around that. Now abatements were only about 87, 82, something like that. So it gets us to about 725,000, I think it was. And so we've got to try and, to get carbon neutral or whatever we're going for, we've got to try and get rid of that 725,000. And there's looking for different ways to do that. I know that there's a workshop proposed. I sent an email around earlier to the councillors in regards to the team that I work for, the Office of Energy and Climate Change. Within the PIPAP team, there is actually a Sustainable Councils team in there, people that work with that. The contact for that person I've sent through. So if Mayor wants to pass it off to the General Manager, that's fine. I think that instead of maybe postponing the workshop till after Christmas and letting council get in touch with those guys so they've got a bit more information to bring to a workshop for councillors. I'm not quite sure what we as councillors can do when there's a professional unit that'll give us a bit more information in regards to what abatements and sequestration and all that sort of things are. I note Councillor Robinson's concerns, and I did read yesterday that the Earth had passed the 2-degree threshold briefly over the last month or so, which is concerning as someone with younger kids. But this is, again, and as someone who I think, along with Councillor Robinson, pushed this motion 3 or 4 years ago to be involved in this Zero Net 30. I think this is great that we finally got some sort of traction on where we're going with it. So I'm looking forward to receiving a further report on it in December, but maybe holding a workshop off until after Christmas might be a better idea till we get a bit more professional people to come and have a chat.
Thanks, Councillor Witters. Councillor Packham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's just important that we, as a council, get the opportunity to impress on the state government that hosting the renewable energy zone and the offsets that may be generated from those projects, albeit not our capital injection, but certainly our land injection, should allow some sharing arrangement of the credits that would be associated with having such, 32 gigawatts of power generated. And I don't think it's fair that offsets from cities, etc., be at our expense completely. If we're willing to host that generation of power for others to continue with their carbon account, then at least we should fall with some benefit of having hosted that on their behalf.
Thank you. Councillor Redwood, as it's your motion, would you like to respond and wrap up?
Yeah, thank you. A response to Councillor Witters' idea of maybe deferring a workshop. One of the important things is to go forward with a workshop, hopefully this year, which is presenting up the discussion points of what the baseline account is. I don't know that we're going to come up with all the solutions for abatement, and perhaps there is a need to engage the people that you're talking about from the department that you work for. But maybe in light of the motion, point C, about a further report in December, I think the further report will require the output of the workshop, and if the workshop is pushed right up against the next OCM, which is mid-December, then it would probably be better that we push the report off to the February meeting next year. So point C, rather than December, I would suggest February of 24.
So do you want to leave that open, and if the seconder is happy with that, that'll be our motion? So should that receive a further report following the workshop, maybe?
Yeah, because it's likely that the new date for the workshop will be the day before the OCM.
Okay.
And it may be difficult to get a report through given that the papers need to be in for the OCM.
So receive a further report
at a future ordinary council meeting. And then it's loose.
Following the workshop?
To receive a further report at a future ordinary council meeting proposing actions. Future ordinary council meeting. Yeah. I think that way just gives us latitude to be able to do it when it falls rather than pressing for December, which is highly unlikely to occur.
Very good. Thank you. Now, Councillor Galettley, are you happy with that?
Yep, I'm happy with that for sure.
Right, terrific. Councillors, I think we've probably had enough discussion on it there. It's not a material change in terms of content. So all those in favour? Thank you. I declare that one carried unanimously. This brings us to item 10.1, Code of Conduct Complaint Statistics. So the purpose of this report is to present the annual Code of Conduct Complaint Statistics with details from page 11 of the agenda. Council is being asked to note the report and its submit data to the Office of Local Government. Can I have a mover? Thanks, Councillor Galettley. A seconder? Thanks. Oh, like that. Councillor Gadders. Councillor Galettley.
I think this is good. This shows how a council can be run and should be run compared to the last term that we put up with. And yeah, one code of conduct, basically it's a pretty good one, and that one got dismissed anyway. So I think we're behaving fairly well. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Gillespie. Councillor Gadders, anything to say? Okay.
Yep, I'd like to concur with the mover, actually, and express how well it is when, for lack of better terms, how good a carton of eggs is when you take the rotten ones out.
Thank you, Councillor Witters. All right. Councillors, let's put this to a vote. All those in favour of noting the report and passing it on to the OLG. Thank you. I declare that carried unanimously. Item 10.1 is the customer service promise, which defines a standard the community can expect when interacting with council. So we have details of the customer service promise from page 14 of the agenda and page 67 of the attachments. So council is being asked to endorse the promise and receive a further report at the end of the exhibition period. Can I have a mover for that, please? Thanks, Councillor Robinson, and seconded is Councillor Redwood. Councillor Robinson, anything to say about the customer service promise?
This is a very important report, and I will look forward to seeing it put on public exhibition and seeing the responses, especially for things like report it and interactions online.
Thank you. Councillor Redwood, as the seconder, anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's great to have a rule book that's published. It says how ARC will act and also how we expect others to act around from our community. So it's good to have it out there and welcome having it finalised.
Terrific, thank you. All right, councillors, if there's no further discussion, I should just note that Councillor O'Connor has joined us. Thank you. So we will now vote on this. All those in favour of noting the report and putting on exhibition, thank you. I declare that carried unanimously. Item 10.3, the ARIC terms of reference, which is an action item from the October Ordinary Council meeting, where Council sought to revise the Charter into a terms of reference and base it on the model prepared by the Office of Local Government. We have details on page 17 of the agenda and page 69 of the attachments. Can I have a mover for that? Thank you, Councillor Packham. And a seconder, thank you, Councillor O'Connor. Councillor Packham.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, we've been a long way down this track, but in true belief that installing the Office of Local Government standard terms of reference furthers our commitment under the Community Plan Strong Region pillars to the culture. The Council has a culture which promotes action, accountability and transparency, and I think this is a good move, especially with the involvement of the option of appointing one non-voting councillor. I'd like to move the motion as recommended. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor O'Connor. Thank you. Councillor Gillespie.
Just reiterating Councillor Witters' little bit of a thing at the end there. I'm probably not going to vote for this because I think there's the bad egg in the box could be one that turns up there and can wreck the party for the whole lot. But we'll see, and if it happens like that, I will be able to say, well, I thought that could happen. But thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on that.
Thank you, Councillor Gillespie. Councillors, anything to add? Councillor Packham, your motion, anything to respond? All right, councillors, let's put this to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. I declared that carried. And just wait for the tick. Councillor O'Connor was for.
Not 9-1, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Gillespie against.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Councillors, this is the last item at this meeting. It's item 11.1, a fee waiver request for the closure of Canamby Street. The request comes from the Armidale Horse and Pony Club. seeking a fee waiver of $526.71, being to close Canabie Street for their jamboree held on the 11th to the 14th of January 2024. The details are on page 20 of the agenda and 81 of the attachments. There is a recommendation, but Councillor Galletley had his hand up. He'll move it.
Thank you. I'd like to move a different motion to the one being put up, if that's fine. And I think that the girls might already have this, but I'd wish that council facilitate the request for a fee waiver via internal funds, pools, and whatever available for the request. So if we can, basically speaking, if we can waiver this and take it out of some other monetary source that we've got sitting there, I think it'd be good for just even us supporting the local pony club and etc. But if that would be okay.
Thank you. So you're moving it. So I think the moved there would be Councillor Galletley on the screen. And so Councillor Galletley has a motion that's
there now. Beautiful.
Okay. And is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor O'Connor. So, Councillor Galletley, that's what you've moved. Do you need to speak further?
Not really. I just think if we support our community as much as we can, I think that's a role for the council. I'm very sure that that we'll be able to find funds to cover that. Thank you very much, rather than coming out of their pocket. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor O'Connor. Can you turn your microphone on, please, Councillor O'Connor?
Finally, I haven't got it on. I'd like to support Councillor Galletley's revision of the motion. These jamborees, jamborees, pony club jamborees, are really, really critical piece of sort of endemic tourism, if you like, to our region. They attract around about 200 horses, usually, somewhere between 100 and 200, but often it's around about 200 competitors, as well as all the families and visitors. It's a really unique part of rural life, I suppose, and there's a lot of cultural history related to how the pony clubs were set up after the light horse returned from war. And it's such a paltry amount considering how much we spend on, much less. Well, the money that we put towards supporting the visitor economy, and this I think would fall squarely within that, if not in a sporting category, and it's for children as well. So I mean, it just ticks all the boxes for council to get behind it. So I would support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor, could you turn that off, please, Councillor O'Connor? Councillor Widders.
A couple of questions. If they were charged the fee, where would the money go to? Like, what does it go into? Like the same place the fees for using the fields goes to, like from other sporting organisations? Like, where exactly would the $512, whatever it is, go to? Like, what is my first question?
Yep. Thank you. I'll go to the General Manager.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Widders, the amount being charged $500 and some is essentially the cost of traffic control that it's costing council to provide that service. So it's a fee for service that we're asking the club to play.
How many participants are expected? Does council have a number on how many participants are expected to be at the jamboree?
I don't rightly know. I'm just going to check.
Well, I just said it, about 200 competitors.
Sorry. The Councillor Widders, in the attachment on page 81 of for the meeting there, the Pony Club has indicated 150 riders and families.
Thanks. So on average, it's about $3 per person, which is fairly not that much, really. Considering that if you play cricket or soccer or whatever else, it costs you a couple of hundred for the season. So really, I think it's a fairly cheap option in regards to how many people are turning up in regards to what we're trying to charge for a bit of thing. So I'm against that amendment to the original recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor McMichael.
Yes, so as the General Manager said, it came from the Traffic Committee, and so when the Traffic Committee sets out issues, they have all various things like road closures, that sort of stuff, and so there are various amounts that are charged to all groups. So the amount was deemed $512 was the amount that was given to the group. And yes, the group could split it amongst its members, but as Councillors Galetly and O'Connor have said, it's a volunteer group which provides money, provides enjoyment for children around the region, and the idea is to get children active in riding. So I suppose that's why we're asking for that. That's why they're asking for it to be the council to make it take the money, get the money from the council this time. But it has to. We have to choose to do that.
Thank you, Councillor McMichael. Councillor Packham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Presuming part answer to Brad's question and a question to the General Manager, I'm presuming that the funds would be reimbursed into the staff accounts because it's virtually overtime and time spent for doing the traffic control. But as put as a motion, that's more of a direction to the council to find internal sources. What would be the outcome if council said, well, really there's no spare buckets and we can't find savings for this? What would be the outcome? And second point to that, really it's not a waiver anymore if we're asking council to fund the fee. So I was wondering if the General Manager might be able to.
General Manager.
As to where the funds can come from, obviously would need to have a look at that. I'm seeing this like you are, I guess, for the first time, or second time, I should say, to be accurate. And sorry, your second question, Councillor Packham?
Well, the question virtually is, well, if you can't find a bucket for it, it's for more of a direction. As put, it's a direction to council to find money elsewhere. And I'm wondering what happens when you can't or couldn't.
Yeah, so essentially it's the cost of providing traffic control for this particular event, salaries, wages, all those sorts of things that you mentioned. That'll be booked out to salaries and wages, employee costs. And obviously if there is a pool that it can be taken from, it will be reimbursed to offset that, to make that negative. If there's not, then we'd wear it against, if its decision is to waive it, we'd wear it against the employee cost and overtime, essentially, as you say.
Yeah, well, it's a firm point. It's no longer a waiver. It's the fee is enacted, but it's council that are absorbing that charge.
Yes. Thank you. Councillor Galetly, as it's your motion, do you wish to wrap it up at all?
I'm pretty sure that the Horse and Pony Club are members of the Sports Council, so maybe if I can make it a little bit easier for Councillor Packham to understand. It seems to have a bit of trouble there, but I think I can. We've got a meeting coming up shortly with the Sports Council, and seeing they're a member of ours and it is their sport that they're playing, I might be able to put to them, and maybe it can come out of some of the money we get for the fields being used and stuff like that. That can might come from the direct source, but it is all one bucket. So anyway, I'll work on that, and hopefully that'll keep the balance of that big sum right for us. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, councillors, I think we've discussed this as far as we need to. Let's put it to a vote. All those in favour? Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I declare it carried 7-3. Thank you. Well, councillors, being no further items on the agenda, I declare this meeting closed at 4:30 p.m. Thank you very much.